Welcome, YouTubers. I'm Speedster Johnny. Glad to have you riding along with me. Especially welcome our newer subscribers. I hope you enjoy my channel, and I hope you will like and subscribe if you have not already. It means a lot to me. This is a beautiful day in early December. I'm out for a ride. The temperature is agreeable. I don't have to have my Joe Rocket extra heavy line jacket on. I'm doing quite well with this old Brooks jacket, which has a small liner in it, but does a good job for days like today. I've really been having a great time on this ride so far. Spyder riding is a great hobby. I've had other hobbies in the past too, and I think about the ones that have been important and meaningful, and those maybe not so much. One in particular was my Red Man, as I called it. This is me in California at a show with my 356 replica cabriolet. I had driven it from Tennessee to California, which was a feat that a lot of people found pretty amazing. I did too, because when I started rolling the wheels in Tennessee, all I could think of was, what the heck have I gotten myself into? But everything went fine, with no major problems, and I met some people that I was very happy to get to know. It was a great trip, and I would look forward to doing it again, except that unfortunately I don't own the Red Man anymore. I decided after 12 years and 42,000 miles that it was time to move on to something else. Decisions like this are really not very easy to make. Sometimes you kind of get awash in all kinds of tests of should I, shouldn't I, or whatever. And at times like these, it's just nice to be quiet for a few moments, sit back and reflect on who you are, where you're going, and how you're going to get there. And this is one of those times. On the beach, on the panhandle of Florida, just taking in the rippling effects of the waves and how it calms the nerves. Do I miss that Red Man? Sometimes I do, but as the birds, and I guess the Bible too, say, there's a season for everything, and sometimes we have to turn, and find some new things to think about, talk about, and do. And when I made the move to sell the Red Man to a person in California, it was a kind of a tough thing to do. I had had a lot of fun with it, met a lot of good people through its ownership, and I was very unhappy and also happy to see it go. Kind of an enigma, I know, that's for sure. But anyway, life goes on. The Spyder's a lot of fun. I've owned it since about mid-year 2017 and had good service out of it. Haven't put a ton of miles on it like some people I know do with theirs, but certainly enough to say that I am truly a committed Spyder rider. But in the foreground to this Spyder acquisition was a Harley Sportster XL 883L, the super low model. It was a really nice looking bike, but it seemed like in the years since I had actually been actively a two-wheel rider, parts of me had changed physically. No longer was I comfortable on two wheels, so it was an issue partly of balance, to a certain extent also of strength, and definitely of commitment. When you have a gas toy, as some people have called them, you look for opportunities to have fun with them. Well, it came to the point with the Sportster that I was looking for excuses not to go riding. That's a bad sign. You should be always looking for new ways to have an adventure And that definitely was not happening. So moving from Sportster to Spyder was a logical thing to do. And I'm still in the wind and I'm still loving it. We also have to think sometimes about things that are important, that tend to be more of a service project. And one of these was the Citizens Observer Patrol. I was in that function with about 60 other guys for several years. And oh yeah, we had our Sheriff's Department uniforms, and we wore them with pride. These 60 young men and women, actually, were divided up into 3 teams that performed patrols, Citizens Observer Patrol, cops, of our locale in 3 shifts. And we were committed to patrolling at least 3 hours twice a month. And the teams covered the 1st through the 10th, the 11th through the 20th, and then the 3rd shift was for the rest of the month. I guess they were kind of lucky in February. But in any event, it was a good service project, and I enjoyed doing it. If you haven't had a chance to perform a service project, I can certainly attest to the fact that it gives you a warm feeling inside. Some projects are more interesting than others. Some require a lot more of you, like maybe even a trip overseas, 2 trips to Estonia in our case. But I still think back of the fun things that I have done in the past. Reliving them makes them more real. And also, you have a chance to share them with others. Certainly one of the very significant times in my life, which was definitely not a service project, was driving the Red Man on the Dragon. Now that was a lot of fun. I certainly didn't set any speed records, and I'm thankful to the killboy.com for taking a number of excellent photos of my run. It was a really enjoyable time, but the Red Man, at last time I checked anyway, now resides on the West Coast in California. It was purchased by a man that was very interested in getting a car like that for a better than brand new price and not having to wait a long time to get it, because there's quite a queue for cars like that. And some people just don't want to wait. I remember in my own case, I had to wait about 6 months, and I thought that was terrible. I was just chewing my fingernails right down to the bone, waiting for that car to be delivered. And it was everything I had hoped it would be. Being the first car of its type built for a customer, naturally there was some teething pains. It took maybe a year to work most of the bugs out, none of which stopped me from enjoying the car. Probably the biggest problem was the cooling. Being a water-cooled engine, you wouldn't think that would be a problem at all. But apparently the design of the return tubes were such that if the heater wasn't turned on, the water wouldn't make a complete loop through the system, and so the engine would get pretty hot. And in the hottest days of the summer, I either had to drive slow or else not turn on the air conditioning. And that shouldn't be true. When that was ultimately discovered and fixed, all of a sudden the car was 100% better, and it was already very good. Well, I've probably rambled on long enough. Probably bored half of you out of your gourd, but whatever. Thanks for watching. If you've hung around this long, perhaps it's time for you to hear me say that Speedster Johnny has enjoyed having you with him. And those of you that ride safe and enjoy your days. Speedster Johnny out.